if you go back to what Troy said, his first iteration of his first course for the software company Course Careers that he owns was just a Word document. One of the things I tell people on this channel and I talk to people about within coaching itself, Troy, is just to get started. Mm-hmm. It's just to get started. And I think about my path of Black Heights, right, is I had to get started. That's where I'm further along today in 2022 than I was back in 2018, where I just had an idea, but I got started. And look where we are today. You got started some years ago and look where you are today in such a tremendous amount of time. So that's number one. I want to tell people that I hope they're going to listen and take as a key point from here is to get started, guys. If you want to go down a path, whether that's getting into tech sales, right, to get started. How do you get started? Sign up for Course Careers. Look at the link in the description. Sign up for Course Careers, learn your tech skills, go from there. If you want to get started into your entrepreneurship journey, learn the skills that you need. Learn the skills that you need in order for you to become an entrepreneur, right? And then get started. That's number one. It's just get started. So I want to rewind even back further, Troy, because you were a good high school student. You're a good high school student. You said, you know what? I don't want to take this path. What made you say, I don't want to take this college path? So did you come from a family that went to college and all of a sudden, you didn't see the value? Did you have cousins, friends, nieces, nephews, or something like that just didn't prove out to be as successful as you thought they should be going to college? What was it that made you not go to college?
Yeah, so I guess my background is a little interesting. I come from a middle-class background. Both my parents went to college. My sister went to college. My uncles went to college. Everyone went to college. So I was really pressured to go to college. It was just kind of a default thing that you do. You go to college. So at 16 years old, when I decided I wasn't going to go, and I told my parents, I don't think they believed me. It was almost at the point where it's so ingrained within our family culture and within just society in general that you have to go to college to be successful. Especially, even at 16 years old, what is that? Like 4 years ago, 8 years ago now, right? So it's actually been some time. 8 years ago, it was a lot more ingrained in society than it was now. Now it's starting to dwindle down where it's maybe there's other paths, but 8 years ago, it was still, you have to go to college to be successful. There's no other path. So the reason I decided to not go is because I actually envied a lot of entrepreneurs. So I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I thought that's how you get rich. That's how you can change the world, right? You have a vision, and if you can convey your vision to other people and get them to help you build that vision, then you can really build something incredible. And the way you start a business is you need sales skills. That's foundational. You need to be able to convince other people to get on board. You need to be able to manage other people, and dealing with people, that's sales. So really, I decided sales is the career I have to start. So after I set that as like my kind of end goal at 16 years old, I need to start a career in sales. I worked backwards. Okay, how do I start a career in sales? And that's where it's like most paths lead to, okay, well, you have to go to college first, then you graduate at age 22. And then you can get into a sales career. But that seemed a little inefficient to me. I didn't really want to waste that time or go into debt, because now if you're in significant amount of debt, then it's like, how do you take the risk to start a business? It makes it a lot more difficult. So I wanted to find a more efficient path to start a sales career, because that was my end goal. And then college just didn't seem like the most efficient path. It seems like sales, it's more about the people skills and communication skills. And if I can get my foot in the door at 18 years old, imagine what I could accomplish by age 22, right? Imagine my people skills, my business acumen, if I was actually working at a tech company with an entrepreneur. So that's really why I decided not to go to college and search for a better path. And really, it became my passion to figure out more efficient ways to start careers, because in our modern economy, jobs now are so specialized, where it's like just getting a very broad general education isn't going to make you stand out to be able to do the job. You really need to have that specialized skill set that companies actually need today for the job at hand. So that's what I really set my goal on that. I was able to achieve it. And then from there, once you get your foot in the door in tech sales, it opens up so many doors. I just talked to Actually, the person I was saying who didn't have a degree was the pushing the buttons at the manufacturing plant.
Yep.
He's now an account executive in healthcare. He sells to hospitals and he makes six figures. Yeah, yeah. It's only been about a year and a half. The guy's making six figures selling to hospitals, coming from pushing buttons without a degree, never worked in an office before.
I love it.
Yeah.
So check this out, Troy, right? So, I love the fact that you already had a vision on what it is that you wanted to, and you just focused on that. That's another thing that I talk about on this channel as well, too. It's just the focus. It's taking a path and then being dedicated towards that path, but having a vision of what it is that you want to ultimately become, and then working backwards. You said you reverse engineer. You always knew you wanted to be an entrepreneur, right? You knew that you had to have a certain amount of skills in order for you to become an entrepreneur. Most entrepreneurs, they have to have some sort of background in the sales. That's a way that you can get your product out the door and so forth. So you have to gain those critical skills in order for you to be successful as an entrepreneur, and you went that route. Now, one of the things I like to say is this, right? And I don't mean anything negative to this, but I mean by the point is, I think your journey, Troy, is the immigrant way. And what I mean by that is, I'm speaking to a lot of people who come to the United States, and I've even coached a lot of people. One of my most recent clients is from the country of Moldova. If you don't know what Moldova is, look it up on the map. It's really close to Russia and in between Ukraine and so forth. So they're kind of on the line. He came to the United States. His first job, just from out of high school, was a truck driver. Okay, he gained those skills. He did it for about 6 or 7 years at the young age like you were, Troy, at about 16 years old. After that, he said, you know what? I'm done with the truck driving skills, or just done with truck driving. So he had a good amount of money. Then he said he wanted to do something different. He started working for another person that was owned a window restoration company. A window restoration company on those windows that you see in those fancy churches, those old churches and stuff like that. Yeah. He learned how to restore those windows, because a lot of them, you can't get them anymore. They're, ancient. And, if you go in a house, certain windows, if the house is old enough, you kind of want to keep the essence of the house there. So you want to have those windows fixed versus replacing them all. Right. So he learned how to restore those sorts of windows, and he makes close to, $3,000 a day, Troy, just from him having that skill. And he started his own business, right? So that's what I mean by the immigrant way. A lot of people who come to the United States, they say, okay, let me just learn a skill. Let me use those skills that I learned and then start my own business. I must say, you're absolutely right. That's not the American way, because the American way, like you said, Troy, was go to college. The only way you're going to become successful is to go to college. I'm even at fault for that, right? Not at fault, because I'm doing well in my career now. But if I think about it, if I would have had that mindset earlier, maybe I would have been, 15 steps ahead. Because at the end of the day, once you take those steps, you continue down a path, things become a lot more clear. You gain those skills to become a lot more clear. You're able to have a lot more success a lot faster, right? So I think about it, it was college, then it was a master's degree, right? And then it was all this stuff. And look how it delayed where I was with wanting to become an entrepreneur. We're creating a company like Black Heights. If I would have thought earlier that, okay, well, being an entrepreneur didn't require you to go to college. If being an entrepreneur just requires you to have a certain amount of specialty skills, I would have started a company a lot earlier and taken that risk. Taking that risk even earlier, where I don't have the responsibility of student debt. I don't have the responsibility of a wife. I don't have the responsibility of 2 beautiful kids, right? 2 beautiful. It's a lot easier to take that risk early on if you have those skill sets than it is a little bit later. So I like to say the immigrant way in the mindset and the concept of a lot of immigrants come to this country, they gain skills, they start a business right away. And I want my community and I want the people who watch this channel to have a mindset like that as well, too. College is certainly a path for you to have success. I'm a proven product of it. I do very well in tech sales. I'm able to leverage that money to fund my entrepreneurship journey. That's why Troy and I have a partnership, and I have this channel and so forth, able to give back. However, there's other alternative paths as well, too. It really starts with just learning a skill and then putting yourself out there to start a company. But you have to have that skill first. What's your take on that, Troy?
Yeah, that's 100% right.